thanks for watching. Today I'll be creating a layout using the sketch that you see posted up top right hand corner, this homemade kit of random scraps and leftover ephemera, and my Kiwi Lane templates that I will be using are great shapes for this specific sketch, and I'm using streamers, rings, and I believe it was notations, charmed and a la carte. I will have all the items linked in the descriptions, as well as other items that I will use. So right now I am just going through my paper. Some of this paper is very old, maybe 10, even older than that, 10, 12 years. Some of it's about 5, and I am just looking for papers that I think will work well together and are a decent size as well. I also have this large piece of chipboard, which I'm going to put aside because I will be picking a couple things out of it as my ephemera, and I will be cutting out little words from that sheet that you saw before. So right now I'm just looking for my background paper, and I believe this is it. It is a craft piece of paper. It is double-sided. I don't know who makes it. It's very old. And I'm just pointing out that that's going to be the sketch we'll be working on. So first I'm going to pull out my streamers, and I'm just trying to gauge how big it needs to be as I look for my pencil and the rings. And obviously you can see that the rings is a lot bigger than our Kiwi Lane template. So I'm going to show you how to piece it together to make it look larger. Also, you'll see me pull out the charmed, the number 3, which is like the little tab, file tab, and I'm also using the a la carte dart, which came in the March kit. So I'll be using that black and white for that streamer that's in the back, and this floral for the streamer that's in the front. So I'm just moving everything over to the side so I can trace out. And as you can see, I have moved it down a bit, and all I did was slide it down a bit because we didn't need the full 12-inch size, and I'm just going to cut it out real quick, and that will create my first streamer. I am distressing the edges with my Tim Holtz distress ink in the Hickory Smoke. And if you watch any other of my videos, you know that that's probably my favorite one out of all of them. And the next thing I'm going to do is pull out the floral here, and I am just trying to figure out how much I need. I don't need the full 12 inches. So as you can see, I'm just going to slide it up a bit to get to the length I need. And then I'm just going to match up the edges and trace ahead. So it does distort the image a bit because obviously it's shorter. So, but I'm okay with that. A lot of it will be covered up anyway, so that's fine. Another way you can do it is by cutting the top half and the bottom half, as you can see in the sketch. And just piecing them together behind the photo. So now I have my piece cut out. I am probably going to ink the edges now with, again, Distress ink by Tim Holtz. And of course I need to erase my pencil marks. This is a colored pencil, which is probably my absolute favorite. You see me use it all the time. It's a Paper Mate, and it is a purple pencil. It has an eraser. It works perfectly. It's great for like the black papers or dark colored papers that are usually hard to see. So here I'm going to cut out that square piece that you see behind the streamers. And definitely the floral paper is from the same paper collection as this piece of paper that I'm using. I did cut it out a little larger than what the sketch calls for, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to be perfect or exact. So now I'm going to show you how I'm going to do my rings to be a little thinner than the actual ring template. All I'm going to do is I do the outside line first, and then I'm just going to slide my template to the width that I'd like it. And as I trace, I just keep moving it around and eyeballing that the width is the same. Now, as you can tell, I'm not going to be doing a full ring because I don't really need a full ring. As you'll see that every part of the ring is behind the pictures and the mats. So I am just using, you know, the parts that I need. So I just noticed that the top was a little thinner than, or thicker than the rest of it. So I'm just going to go back and correct that. So this is a great way to get your templates to go the extra mile, because if you want something a little smaller or thinner or larger, you can always just slide it down a bit or slide it to one side or to the other, and because they're transparent, you could match up your lines, and you can definitely extend them a bit. So as you can see, I'm cutting it out, and again, I don't need a full round circle because there's a huge portion of it that is hidden behind the mats. So now I'm just going to kind of place it behind just to see where everything is. And of course it's smaller, so it's not as, the diameter is, it's not as large as what you see in the sketch. So I am going to cut this up a bit and play with it a little so that you can see how I'm going to make the circle seem like it's bigger than what it really is. First, I'm going to ink all my edges. And while I ink my edges, I just want to say thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any suggestions of other videos you'd like to see, please leave it in the comments, or if you'd rather send me a private message, go ahead and do so. I'm always up for challenges, and I've probably done it. So whatever it is that you're thinking about, don't be afraid to ask. It's probably been done already. So right about now, I'm kind of deciding where I want to put everything, and I just noticed that maybe I need to cut that mat down a little bit. And I did cut it with my scissors, and because of the lines, I was a little bit off. It was not a straight cut. So I cut it down a bit, and now I'm a little happier with how that looks. And I will start piecing everything together and adhering it down to each other. Not directly to the paper, but I'd rather make it into a separate piece. And I apologize for the little shakes here and there. My tripod is right in front of me, and a couple times I did notice that I banged into it. Almost knocked it over at one point, but I think I edited that part out. So as you can see, I'm just trying to piece things together and just lightly adhere it to this paper, to the mat, so that I can make sure I'm happy with how it looks and that everything is where I need it to be. And here's where I'm going to start piecing my my ring together. So right there it looks good to me, and I'm going to adhere this portion down onto the black and white paper. I just need to get everything tucked in. And you don't really need to see that corner on the left hand side, the bottom part of the circle. So as you saw, I just took a clip off of it. So now I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, and you see me sliding it so that I don't lose my shape. And I'm just going to keep moving it around. Oh, first I'm going to decide where is this going to go so that it doesn't keep moving. And I'm going to stick it lightly down onto my card base or my background. And here's where I decide that that's a perfect spot. Right, keep moving it. And yeah, so I will be adhering it down in just a second. So as you could see, I traced it with my finger and it looked pretty round. And I'm going to back this picture of my daughter and her grandmother with this yellow and orange paper, but I do want to cut that orange part out because I really don't have orange that is that loud. So I wanted to get that piece out and map my picture because I feel like the yellow will, first of all, it matches my mother-in-law's kitchen. It doesn't look like that anymore. This picture is a few years old. And I am going to adhere the picture again because I was a little lopsided. And there is my 4x6 picture that I printed at home using my Canon selfie. So now I'm going to cut this little tag that says the best. And I'm just going to set it aside for a moment. I'm going to glue my tape down my picture after I distress my edges. And now I'm just trying to figure out where my placement should be. And I think right there is probably the spot. So now I'm going to cut out my little tab using the charmed number 3. And I'm going to cut it out, ink it, and I will stick the best on it. So I just want to take a quick moment to tell you about the 500 subscriber giveaway. We're slowly creeping up to the 500 subscribers, and I just want to mention that Kiwi Lane is not hosting or sponsoring this giveaway. This is purely a thank you from me for my first 500 subscribers, and it's a $50 Kiwi Lane gift card. So just make sure to like and subscribe, and also click on the little bell button so that you get notifications, so that once I reach that 500, which my goal is to reach it by the end of April, you can get notified about the giveaway. Also, if you don't mind, share my video with your friends or with your scrappy groups, and that'll help us move on to my next goal, which would be at 1,000 subscribers. And for that one, I'm planning a really awesome gift for whoever wins it. Doesn't matter where in the world, you're getting it. So make sure, again, to like and subscribe. You have no idea how much that means to me. So now let's get back to my page here. So I have my a la carte dart picked out, and I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I can use to cut it out. Maybe something with words, or but nothing, none of the words are small enough. So I picked this pink paper, and I'm just looking for the right tone of pink. And here I'm just going to trace it and cut it out. I'm sorry for coming off the screen. It just gets a little hard to cut when it's not directly in front of you. So at the end of the video, I will have links. Well, first of all, there will be still shots and close-ups of the video of the layout. And I will also have links to other projects as well as to my channel, and a link. There will be a link right here for you to visit my friend T. She's a very good friend of mine. I met her in the scrappy world of Facebook, and she doesn't live near me, so we, for the most part, scrapbook on Hangouts, Google Hangouts, on most nights. That's where you'll find us hanging out while we scrapbook. So let me know in the comments if you have any friends that you scrapbook with, whether they're nearby or in another state. So I'm going to ink this part up, and the little arrow is a little hard to do because it has such small, intricate little corners, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And so there's my arrow. Now I'm just going to use some foam, which I believe this is called Fun Foam, and I will be adhering it to the back and gluing it down. So is there a specific Kiwi Lane template that you're interested in maybe figuring out how to use but wouldn't know how to use it? Leave me a comment. Tell me which one it is, and I will try my best to, if I don't have it, to get it in my hands. I have almost all of them, at least the ones that are in circulation right now. And I would love to be up to the challenge. You tell me what you want to see. That's why I make these videos. I hope to inspire and maybe show you a new thing or two, because that's what YouTube does for me. I love watching my YouTube faves all the time. So as you see up on the top right corner, I am now trying to make a little cluster of embellishments, and I'm going into this box that I have, and I picked out a couple things, and the one circle, it says adorable, and it's so cute, and I was planning on using it, but then I realized there's nothing orange on my page, at least not that bright of an orange. So it will not make the cut. It will end up going away, and I will be placing something else there. So I also am using that little paper clip where I don't know where it came from, but it has a little banner on it. And I was going to use some ribbon on my chipboard button, but it was giving me a really hard time to get it through the tiny holes. So instead I decided to plop a flower on top of it. Yeah, so there I am working on my little button. And I'm going to glue down my one circle, and you really can't see, but it does have a light pattern, almost like a grid design in a very light peach orangey color, like my rings. It's the same exact color. And I'm looking at this right about now and saying, yeah, this isn't working. So I'm going to stick it back onto my little plastic, and I see this sweet, and instead I'm going to go with that one. But I am going to put some fun foam behind it to pop it up a bit. And yeah, now that actually, I like that a little bit more. So I have a little bit of that Tombow adhesive on my sweet little circle. You're going to see me pull out my little eraser shortly, I believe, unless I cut it out. I'm not 100% certain. So I'm going to cut out another one of these little word tags, and it says good times, and I'm just going to clip it under the clip and add a little adhesive just so it doesn't move. And I will add my little flower button right on top. Oh, there's my little adhesive eraser. That is the best $3, I think it was, that I've ever spent in my life. So I'm going to take this little heart that was floating around, and I'm going to stick it behind. And now I'm going to work on probably my title. My title was a little complicated. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I can use for a title. I don't see anything, so I am going to go and pull out my stickers. Actually, I noticed that in my in the sketch there is a border around the paper. It's almost like it's framed. So I decided that I was going to try and now that I was done, I was going to frame my page with this black and white striped paper. So I'm going to cut down my scrapbook page, and I believe I'm just going to do about half an inch on two sides. Actually, on one side. Nope. That looks more like a 1/4 inch. So yes, I'm doing a 1/4 inch from the top and a 1/4 inch from the bottom. I will not be cutting anything off the sides. So I could have easily just glued it down like this, but that to me is such a waste of paper. So I'm just going to cut down a 2-inch strip, and then I'm going to cut that in half. And I am going to adhere those 2 strips to the back of my layout. But first I'm going to ink my edges so that it gives it a little more dimension. And I will be adding those 2 strips just like that. For big jobs like this, I usually pull out my Scotch ATG tape runner. So I'm using my grids right now to line everything up. And it looks pretty lined up. And now I'm going to go with the other end. And this one side I didn't really line up as well, but when I tried to peel it off, I couldn't. So it is what it is. Yeah, that's when I realized, yeah, I guess it's not really worth it. So I'm just going to cut that little piece off and call it a day. So now I'm trying to think of what shine spray to use, but then I realized I don't have a title on here yet. So let me get my title going. So I pulled out the stickers from my stash, and it says, this one says my, because at first I was going to write my grandma, but then I saw that on the other side it had the word love right at the bottom. So I'm going to add the love on top, and then I am going to spell out grandma using the small thickers from, I believe those are also thickers, and I It's one of Paige Evans' designs, I believe. And they're tiny, they're foam, they're awesome. They're one of my favorite font letters to use. So I'm going to play with Love a little bit so I can just kind of get it to lay right. And then I'm going to pull out my sequins, which I have a humongous box of sequins, and that's not even all of them. Yeah, I love shiny things. Oh, no, I am going to cut my little card that's going to be placed under my arrow for my journaling, which will not show on this video or even in the pictures because I don't end up doing it. And I figured my daughter should probably write what she wants, whatever she wants to say, since it'll go in her album. I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges and get it adhered down under that arrow. And I thought the placement was pretty perfect there. So I feel like there needs to be another little cluster. I like to have 3 clusters of embellishment. I feel that it makes it a lot more visually appealing. If you could notice, my main subject of my picture is right in the line of my embellishment in the top right corner and to where the buttons and arrow is that I just placed on the left hand side under my picture. So if you make a line from the top to those buttons, basically goes right through their face. I feel that it makes it a lot, again, appealing. It makes it softer. It's not confusing to your eye, although normally I like to start from the left to the right since that's the way we normally read, but this works just as well since we would start from the top and work our way to the bottom, if that makes sense. Well, hopefully it'll make sense. So here I'm picking a couple different color sequins, and I end up just using the 1 blue ones that you see there. So at this point I see the Heidi Swapp color shine coming out in the gold, so I know that I'm getting close to the end of my video. I did add some pretty big splatters, and I will use my rolled up paper towel to just dab it up a little bit so it doesn't soak through the paper and get larger. So again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm adding some hearts. I'm adding a couple little black ephemera or enamel dots. Make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day. I'm so excited to share these close-up shots of this awesome layout that I created using nothing but scraps, a sketch, and some Kiwi lane templates. Make sure to stay till the end. I will have some links to 2 other projects. My channel will be popping up right about now. Make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day.